Hi children, how are you all? I hope you all are fine at home with your parents. Today we are going to see chapter 14 Agriculture and Industry. Okay children, what fuel does our body require to carry out day-to-day function? Yes, food. So where do we get the food from? The cereals, pulses, spices, and vegetables on a plate come from somewhere. Where do they come from? Did you say the earth? Yes, that's it. They too grow on the earth, but who grows them for us? Yes, the farmer, that's right. We also get food from animals. These animals are taken care of humans. Without food, our body will be able to function at all. But cannot every human produce their own food? Do you think this is the peaceful option? No. Imagine growing your food every day. Are you sure this is an easy job to do? And that's why we need our farmers friend. They produce food with entire country, and with a growing population, food needs to be produced on a large scale. What do we mean by producing food? Planting seeds, breeding of animals, and the only events producing food. A lot of effects too goes to the process of food production. So a lot of effects goes to the process of food production. One of these process include is regular production food. Secondly, proper management of the resource produced. And lastly, distribution among the people. What do we call production of plants in specific area of land? One more time. What do we call production of plants in specific area of land? Yes, the correct agriculture. So children, how did the men get idea of agriculture? So, man was nomadic for many years. We know in ancient time the man was a nomadic for many years. Children, what do you mean by the word nomadic? Children, in previous video we already discussed about nomadic people. Okay children, I will repeat you again. Nomadic people move from one place to another place for their food. People move from one place to another place for their food. So, the man was nomadic for many years in ancient time. In ancient time, the man survived used by fruits, roots and hunting animals of food. So, the men used on fruits, roots and hunting animals of food. Eventually, men learned to culture of cultivation. A man learned agriculture by observing nature. Children, how did man learn agriculture? To observe nature. To observe nature. Yes. So what is the most important part of agriculture? So what is the most important part of agriculture? Of course, the crops. But what exactly do we mean by crops? When seeds of plant are grown on large scale, when seeds of plant are grown on large scale, we call it as crops. Crops of wheat, rice, sugarcane. Do you know the children? The word agriculture is derived from Latin words agri plus culture. Agri means soil and culture means cultivation. So, soil cultivation. So, the word agriculture is derived from Latin words. Agri means soil and culture means cultivation. So, agriculture means soil cultivation. Children, we know agriculture is the backbone of India. Which is the backbone of India? Agriculture. India is often referred to as an agricultural country. About 70% of India's population is engaged in agriculture for employment. Besides, agriculture provides us food, raw materials for various industries. India also exports many crops such as tea, coffee, rice, and spices. Apart from growing crops, rearing livestock is also a part of agriculture. So, rearing livestock is also a part of agriculture. So, children, what is a livestock? The animals that give useful products such as meat, eggs, milk, and wool are called livestock. So, children, the animals we are getting from what is a livestock? The human farm the animals for some purpose. So, children, the animals that give useful products such as meat, eggs, milk, and wool are called livestock. Livestock means like domestic animals, such as animals of the cow, buffalo, sheep, goat, and hen. These animals, particularly the cow and buffalo, which give us milks, are also called cattle. So, cow and buffalo, which give us milk, are also called cattle. Okay, children, what do we need for agriculture? Good rainfall or proper irrigation facilities and fertile soil help agriculture. Good rainfall or proper irrigation facilities and fertile soil help agriculture. Children, we know what is irrigation. Irrigation means the artificial supply of water to land. The artificial supply of water to land. So children, agriculture need good rainfall or proper irrigation facilities and fertile soil help agriculture. In India, the fertile northern plains, the deltas of the coastal plains and some parts of the plateau region are good for agricultural activities. Depending on the type of soil and climatic condition, different crops are grown in different states of India. So, the crops are depending on the soil and climatic condition. So, different crops are grown in different states of India. Due to the variation in climate and soil type throughout India, farmers grow a wide variety of crops. Food crops and cash crops. Food crops are grown to feed the people of the country. Food crops grown in India include wheat, rice, maize, millets and pulses. So children, food crops are wheat, rice, maize, millets and pulses. So what about the cash crops? So cash crops are grown by the farmers mostly for selling in the markets to earn money. Examples of cash crops grown in India are sugarcane, spices, tea, coffee, oil seeds, cotton and jute. So, cash crops are grown by the farmers mostly for selling in the markets to earn money. So, children, food crops are grown to feed the people of the country. Cash crops are grown by the farmers mostly for selling in the markets to earn money. So, this is the difference between food crops and cash crops. Food crops are any agricultural products that can be eaten such as corn, soya beans, sunflower. So, food crops are the ones that we eat. Food crops are the ones that we eat. This crop is essential for living and has less value compared to cash crops. Cash crops we can call another name for a commercial crops. Cash crops is also called commercial crops. Children, let's see some food crops. Rice. The hot and humid climate of India is good for rice cultivation. Children, what is humid? Humid means marked by a relatively high level of water vapor in the atmosphere. Marked by a relatively high level of water vapor in the atmosphere is called humid. So children, we can call ஈரப்பதம். So the hot and humid climate of India is good for rice cultivation. So India is good for the rice cultivation. Do you know, children? India is the second largest rice producing country in the world after China. So, which is the second largest rice producing country in the world? India. So, India is the second largest rice producing country in the world after China. At the same time, the population. India is the second population country in the world after China. So rice producing and the population, the both also the second. So children, what are the major rice producing states in India? In India, West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha and Bihar. West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha and Bihar. Here, Basmati rice is the most popular variety of Indian rice. Which is the most popular variety of Indian rice? Basmati rice. Basmati rice is the most popular variety of Indian rice. We know, children, rice is the major food crops of the world. Rice is the major food crop of the world and it grows best in alluvial clay soil. It grows best in alluvial clay soil. It is the staple food of the people living in the eastern and southern parts of India. So children, it is the staple food of the people who living in the southern and eastern parts of India. Next, wheat. After rice, wheat is India's second important crop. Wheat is sown over the largest chunk of the country's agricultural land. So children, after rice, which is the second important crop in India? Yes, wheat. Wheat is India's second important crop after rice. And wheat is sown over the largest chunk of the country's agricultural land, and as dry and moist climate suits wheat production. So children, wheat is suitable for the dry and moist climate. It is sown during November to January. So when it is sown? November to January and harvested during March to April. So children, November to January, the wheat we have to sow, and after 3 months, that means March to April, we have to harvest. So children, what do you mean by the word harvest? Harvest means the process or period of gathering in crops. The process or period of gathering in crops is called harvester. So children, the harvester, it will March to April. And the major wheat producing states are Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Bihar. So children, what are the major wheat producing states in India? There are Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Bihar. So children, let's see millets. India is also the largest producer of millets in the world. India is also the largest producer of millets in the world. And millets are coarse grains. Coarse means rough or harsh in a texture. So children, when you touch the grains, it will rough. When you touch the grains, we can feel the rough on the texture. So, millets are coarse grains such as jowar, bajra, and ragi. They grow fast in regions of little rainfall and even in soils of poor fertility without irrigation. So, children, millets need little rainfall and even in soils of poor fertility without irrigation. They are ready for harvest in just 45 days. So, children, millets need only 45 days. After 45 days, millets are ready for harvest. So, children, millets need only 45 days. And millets considered more nutritious than wheat. Compared to the wheat, millets considered more nutritious are the staple food of many people in West and South India. So children, the millets mostly used in West and South India. Children, let's talk about pulses. Pulses are one of the important food crops globally due to higher protein content. So, children, pulses have higher protein content and pulses are important group of crops in India. Pulses are important group of crops in India which is also responsible for yielding large financial. So, children, pulses are responsible for yielding large financial gains by amounting for a large parts of the exports. So it is used for the exports and pulses are the major sources of protein in the diet. Children, what do you mean by the word diet? Nowadays, most of the person using diet. What do you mean by the word diet? A special kind of food in order to lose weight or for medical reason. It is a special kinds of food in order to lose weight. Otherwise, for medical reasons, some other people use diet. So, the pulses are a major source of protein in the diet of all categories of people. Pulses form an integral part of the Indian diet, providing much needed protein to the carbohydrate rich diet. And children, do you know one more thing? India is the largest producer and consumer of pulses in the world. It is the largest producer and consumer of pulses in the world. Largest producer means we can product, giving a product. What do you mean by the word consumer? A person who purchases goods and services for personal use. A person who purchases goods and services for personal use we can call a consumer. So children, India is the largest producer and consumer of pulses in the world. Do you know children? Pulses are 20 to 25% protein by weight, which is double the protein content of wheat and 3 times that of rice. So compared to wheat and rice, pulses have 20 to 25% protein by weight. The main regions with high productivity are Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. These are the regions with high productivity. Children, still we discussed what is food crops. Now we can check what is cash crop. A cash crop is an agricultural crop which is grown to sell for profit. So the cash crop is non-food crops that are used as raw materials in industries. It is typically purchased by parties separate from a farm. The term is used to differentiate marketed crops from subsistence crops. And cash crops are also exported to other countries. Plantation crops are also cash crops. These are grown in a large areas called plantations. So children, rubber is a plantation crop. Okay, now we can see what are the cash crops. First, oil seeds. Let's discuss oil seeds. In our day-to-day life, we are using different oils in different ways. Do you think where we get from? Yes, we get different oils from oil seeds such as mustard, groundnut, sunflower, etc. They are grown in different parts of the country. The oil extracted from them is called vegetable oil. So, the oil extracted from them is called vegetable oil. Next, sugarcane. India figures among the leading producers of sugarcane and cotton. So, India figures among the leading producers of sugarcane and cotton. Both are cash crops. Our country is the second largest producer of sugarcane after Brazil in the world. Children, which is the largest producer of sugarcane in the world? Brazil. And which is the second largest producer of sugarcane in the world? India. So, our country is the second largest producer of sugarcane in the world after Brazil. So, sugarcane grows in well-drained fertile soil. It will grow well-drained fertile soil. The sugarcane producing states are Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Haryana, Punjab, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Let's discuss tea. Tea is a beverage crop grown on plantation. It is a beverage crop grown on plantation. Children, beverage means a drink. So, tea is a one type of drink. Yes, this requires cool climate and well distributed high rainfall throughout the year for the growth of its tender leaves. So children, we are using the leaves to make a tea. These tea crops requires cool climate and well distributed high rainfall throughout the year for the growth of its tender leaves. Yes children, we are using the tea leaves for make the tea drink. So, its need cool climate and well distributed high rainfall throughout the year. We know tea grows best in hilly areas and it needs well-drained loamy soil. And children, we know it is one of the large scale. So, labor in large number is required to pick the leaves. Do you know children? Kenya, India, China and Sri Lanka produce the best quality tea in the world. And in India, it is the mainly grown in Assam, West Bengal and the Nilgiri hills of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Next, coffee. Coffee and tea are beverage crop. What do you mean by the word beverage? Yeah, drinks other than water. So it is a drink. And coffee requires warm and wet climate and well-drained loamy soil. So coffee crops need warm and wet climate. And children, hill slopes are more suitable for growth of these crops. Do you know? Brazil is the leading producer followed by Colombia and India. And it is grown in the states of Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Children, we know in each and every food we are using a different types of spices. So children, what is the uses of spices? Spices are giving color, flavor and order to the food. And spices are giving the flavor and color to the food. And at the same time, They also have the medicinal value and help in curing many diseases. So children, it is most important things in the kitchen. At one time, India was unknown as the land of spices. Spices such as pepper, cloves, nutmeg, chilies and ginger are grown mostly in Kerala and Karnataka. Let's discuss cotton. In India, cotton grows best in black soil of the Deccan Plateau. It is also grown in Haryana, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka and Maharashtra. So children, in India, cotton grown in Haryana, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka and Maharashtra. Children, we know cotton is used mainly to make cloth. It requires warm, sunny climate. And do you know children, it is one of the main raw materials for the cotton textile industry. Let's talk about jute. Jute was also known as the golden fiber. It is also known as golden fiber. Children, jute grows well on alluvial soil and it requires high temperature and heavy rainfall. So, it requires hot and wet climate to grow. And we know jute is used for making carpets, bags and ropes. Children, it is the mainly grown in and around the Ganga Brahmaputra delta in Assam, Bihar, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. So, it is mainly grown in around the Ganga Brahmaputra delta. Around the Ganga Brahmaputra delta. Okay children, let's see cropping season. India has two main cropping seasons. There are Rabi and Kharif. Rabi crops are grown in winter in the month of October and November. They are harvested in spring during the months of March and April. So children, the Rabi crops are sown in winter in the months of October and November. After they are harvested in spring during the months of March and April. So, the rabi crops are harvested in spring during the months of March and April. For example of rabi crops are wheat, barley and pulses. Next, Kharif. The Kharif crops are sown during the monsoon seasons and are harvested during the late autumn. So, the crops grow in this period. Early winter. So, rice, maize, cotton, jute and tea are the major Kharif crops. It is need large quantity of water. And rabi crops are referred to as winter crops, while the kharif crops are referred to as monsoon crops. So children, what about the rabi crops? The rabi crops are referred to as winter crops, while kharif crops are also referred to as monsoon crops. So, rabi crop is also known as a winter crop. Kharif crops are referred to as monsoon crops. So, winter and monsoon crops. What about a summer? So, what is grown in summer months then? Well, summer months usually do not see a lot of cultivation, but some vegetable and pulses can be grown in the summer with the help of the irrigation. This is all about type of crops in India. So children, what about the summer? The summer month usually do not see a lot of cultivation. We know India is one of the largest exporter of agricultural produce in the world. This is due to the following factors. So, which is the largest exporter of agriculture producer in the world?
India. India is one of the largest exporters of agricultural produce in the world. This is due to the following factors. So, use of better quality seeds. While we are using seeds, we have to find the better quality seeds. Use of fertilizers and manures. So, when we need fertilizers and manures, we should use of new and modern methods of farming. So, we have to minimize the time we use of new and modern methods of farming and improve irrigation facilities. So, irrigation is most important for the crops. In order to reduce our work, we use modern machinery such as tractors and harvesters. All these measures have helped in increasing agricultural production. So it will help to increase agricultural production. Let's discuss livestock. Some animals are helps us in agriculture. So livestock are domestic animals that are kept by people for food, milk, leather or wool. Some types of livestock are cattle, pigs, sheep, goats, and chickens. In recent years, some organizations have also raised livestock to promote the survival of rare breeds. So, the livestock means some animals are helpful to humans and other animals provide us with food like milk, eggs and meat. Such animals are referred to as livestock. So these are we can call a livestock. The nurturing of such animals is called rearing. Other animals are also important. We get wool from the hair of sheep and camel. The meat of animals is also eaten. The skin of various animals is used to make leather goods. So children, the leather goods are made up of animal skin. Camels are very much useful in deserts. Our government has taken up several steps to preserve the cattle wealth too. The plans include treatment for animals in the hospital, rich diet, etc. to increase the milk production. Cattle. The cattle like cows, buffaloes and goats are reared for milk. We need milk to make curd, cheese, butter and ghee. So children, the milk product make curd, cheese, butter and ghee. And we know the cattle dung is used as manure and as fuel. Next, poultry. However, cattle dung is used as manure and as a fuel. So children, cattle dung is used as manure at the same time a fuel. Let's talk about poultry such as chicken, duck, geese, etc. are reared for meat and eggs. Fish. Fish and other marine animals such as prawns, crabs are reared for meat. Some fish are also reared for oil. Animals such as yaks, sheep, rabbits, etc. are reared for wool, while silkworms are reared for silk. And camels, elephants, and mules are also used to transport people and goods in deserts, forests, and hilly areas, respectively. So, children, we are using the animals in a different ways. So, some animals are helpful to humans in a different way. Children, let's discuss book exercise. Take your book, page number 109. A. Fill in the blanks. Question number 1. Wheat, rice, and maize are some examples of dash crops grown in India. Wheat rice, and maize are some examples of dash crops grown in India. The answer is food crops. The answer is food crops. Children, we know food crops are grown to meet the food requirement of the people. So, the main food crops grown in India are rice, wheat, millets, and maize. So, wheat, rice, and maize are some examples of food crops grown in India.
Question number 2. Dash and dash are beverage crops grown in India. Dash and dash are beverage crops grown in India. Children, what do you mean by the word beverage? It means a drink other than water. A drink other than water. So what are the crops we can call a beverage? Yes, tea and coffee. So the answer is tea and coffee. So tea and coffee are beverage crop. So tea and coffee are beverage crops grown in India.
Third one. The practice of cultivating land for growing crops on a large scale is known as dash. The practice of cultivating land for growing crops on a large scale is known as dash. The answer is agriculture. The answer is agriculture. The answer is agriculture. Children, we know agriculture means cultivation of land. Agriculture means cultivation of land. 2/3 of Indian population is involved in agriculture. It is the mainstay of country. It is the mainstay of our country. A large variety of soils and climatic conditions have helped in the growth of different types of crops. So, the practice of cultivating land for growing crops on a large scale is known as agriculture. Fourth one. India is the largest producer and consumer of dash in the world. India is the largest producer and consumer of dash in the world. The answer is pulses. The answer is pulses. Pulses are 20 to 25% protein by weight, which is double the protein content of wheat and 3 times that of rice. So, India is the largest producer and consumer of pulses in the world. Fifth one. Animals that are helpful to humans are referred to as dash. Animals that are helpful to humans are referred to as dash. The answer is livestock. The answer is livestock. Children, what do you mean by the word livestock? Farm animals regarded as an asset. Farm animals regarded as an asset. Children, we know some animals are helpful to humans. They help in farming and provide us with food, milk, eggs, and meat. So, such animals are referred to as livestock. So, animals that are helpful to humans are referred to as livestock. Children, I will repeat you again. A. Fill in the blanks. Question number 1. Wheat, rice, and maize are some examples of dash crops grown in India. The answer is food crops. So, wheat, rice, and maize are some examples of food crops grown in India. Second one. Dash and dash are beverage crops grown in India. The answer is tea and coffee. So, tea
and coffee or beverage crops grown in India. Third one, the practice of cultivating land for growing crops on a large scale is known as dash. The answer is agriculture. The practice of cultivating land for growing crops on a large scale is known as agriculture. Fourth one, India is the largest producer and consumer of dash in the world. The answer is pulses. India is the largest producer and consumer of dash in the world. The answer is pulses. Fifth one, animals that are helpful to humans are referred to as dash. The answer is livestock. So, animals that are helpful to humans are referred to as livestock. Children, the next B. State whether the following statements are true or false. Question number 1. India is the largest producer and second largest exporter of rice in the world. India is the largest producer and second largest exporter of rice in the world. The answer is false. The answer is false because India is the second largest producer and the largest exporter of rice in the world. India is the second largest producer, at the same time the largest exporter of rice in the world. So, India is the largest producer and second largest exporter of rice in the world. False. Second one. Manufacturing of aeroplanes is an example of small scale industry. Manufacturing of aeroplanes is an example of small scale industry. The answer is false. The answer is false because industries where goods are manufactured on the very large scale with the help of big machines, thousands of workers and a large amount of money are known as large scale industries. So, aeroplane is a large scale industry. So, the manufacturing of aeroplanes is an example of small scale industry. False. Third one. Rabi and Kharif are two main cropping seasons in India. Rabi and Kharif are two main cropping seasons in India. The answer is true. Rabi and Kharif are two main cropping seasons in India. True. Fourth one. The industries where goods are manufactured on a very large scale is known as the large scale industry. The industries where goods are manufactured on a very large scale are known as large scale industries. The answer is true. So, the industries where goods are manufactured on a very large scale are known as large scale industries. True. Fifth one. Utensils, hosiery garments, plastic goods, etc. are some examples of small scale industries. Utensils, hosiery garments, plastic goods, etc. are some examples of small scale industries. The answer is then, what do you mean by the word hosiery garments? Hosiery means stocking, socks and tights collectively. So children, utensils, hosiery garments, plastic goods, etc. are some examples of small scale industries. True. Children, I will repeat you one more time. B. State whether the following statements are true or false. Question number 1. India is the largest producer and second largest exporter of rice in the world. The answer is false. India is the largest producer and the second largest exporter of rice in the world. False. 2. Manufacturing of aeroplanes is an example of small-scale industry. The answer is false. Manufacturing of aeroplane is an example of small-scale industry. False. Third one. Rabi and kharif are two main cropping seasons in India. The answer is true. Rabi and kharif are two main cropping seasons in India. True. Fourth one. The industries where goods are manufactured on a very large scale are known as large scale industries. The answer is true. The industries where goods are manufactured on a very large scale are known as large scale industries. True. Fifth one. Utensils, hosiery garments, plastic goods, etc. are some examples of small scale industries. The answer is true. Utensils, hosiery garments, plastic goods, etc. are some examples of small scale industries. True.